Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
Welcome in, come on in. Hopefully everybody enjoyed last week's pod. Thank you again to George. We'll get our thanks to George.
It's great having him on.
The Fantasy Rugby Geek. Good laugh, man. I laughed quite a bit last week, I have to say. And yeah. I'm sure some of our listeners might have got annoyed, but man, I can't help myself sometimes. I was just having a good time, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It's it doesn't even feel like work sometimes.
No. Well, listen. If this is work, I want to get paid. But
right, I know.
If it's not work, well, then fine. Fuck it.
Yeah, well,
all right, I'm ready to drink some
people
beer.
Can have their money back then.
Yeah. Here's your money back.
Oh,
rack them. Obviously, you want to find us on your favorite podcast app, whether it be Apple, Spotify, Google Play. Any of those, although I think Google Play just renamed their app system too, but I'm just not sure where it is because I don't have one of those phones. But in either case, you can probably find us wherever you get your podcasts. Download us, rate us, subscribe to us, the whole shebang. We might have a new listener in Virginia that downloaded basically every pod we ever did. Whoever you are, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. That'd be great. That's awesome. Also, thank you. We say our thanks to George. Thanks to the Rugby Mag, obviously. Ed and company always treat us well, and they do a great job. We can't wait to get back to the Rugby Mag Fantasy with our teams coming up once things kick off in like mid-August is what it's looking like.
Yeah.
England moved their progressions forward. So it looks like they're on track, which is awesome. So we're looking forward to that. This past weekend, it was Happy Birthday America, but not so Happy Birthday America because the most American thing we can do this past week is take a hard look at what's going on in the United States and want to improve it. And if you don't want to improve it, then maybe you can go find somewhere else to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I know. So yeah, Black Lives Matter, and we will continue that message until Ben and I are well under the dirt. So.
Right.
Just keep emphasizing it, and let's make sure that everybody has a fair shake here. Speaking of,
so we had the interesting
a non-American. You guys can keep him, by the way.
Yeah,
just saying.
Goody being the knob that he can be sometimes.
Definitely a knob.
Just doesn't. I guess I commented back because he's a Twitter troll and you can't help it sometimes. Talking about, if a police officer stops you, just be polite and go about your business and then everything will be okay. And that's such an easy way to take it. And they're totally ignorant. And at this point, it's deliberate. It's deliberate ignorance. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, so you don't know that, Black people get stopped and harassed by police like constantly. Oh, because they fit the description and yada yada, and this was in response to, I think it was I don't know the story, unfortunately. I just kind of only heard about it right before we were going to get on this, but yeah, there was I think a English track star who got pulled over and she was pissed about it, and rightly so, and or otherwise harassed by police. I don't know the story. I wish I did. And that's, I guess, what he was responding to. And it's like, just because a police officer does it, A, doesn't mean it's right. And B, after a certain amount of time, it's targeted harassment, and we all know it. So, sure. Don't ask a question disingenuously, already knowing the answer just not caring. You don't like the answer, so you act as if it doesn't exist. And it's just old. It's done. You had your chance to be naive and I didn't know. You know.
Now you know. If you don't know now, then you're choosing not to know.
Right. And so it's not a question to be taken seriously and treated with any sort of respect. Mm-hmm. So it's just a Goody, again, being Goody. But this is why it's important to support, concepts like Black Lives Matter. Otherwise, there would be no reason for him to care at all. So
Premier League has definitely been pushing it. For sure. They take a knee before every match, and I mean every match. Every player, the referee, it's being taken seriously. If a big outfit like the Premier League is starting to take this seriously, maybe it's something to take notice that there might actually be something to this.
And there's
Just a thought. That's a big diverse background right there too. You got to remember that.
Right. You know? And let's not talk about just we're not just talking about Black Lives Matter too.
No.
There are two, actually I should say three potential name changes on the horizon for teams.
At least two.
At least two, and then maybe a third. And so the two are the Washington.
I don't say Blurs. That. I've never, I have since I started to kind of figure out. I'm like, this is actually a very inappropriate name. Right. So once I figured that out, I was like, all right, I'm stopping. That was like 3 years ago. I stopped using that.
The Washington NFL franchise,
yes, that one
is considering changing its name, although they're potentially changing it to something that's just more of a dog whistle rather than a bullhorn. But we'll get over that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let them make the mistake before we criticize it. The other is the Cleveland Indians, which I don't feel is I don't see that as being disrespectful, but I get it. So I'm like, okay, again, I'm willing to go with it. It's a team name. The fuck do I care?
Yeah, who cares? The team name doesn't mean anything about the team.
Yeah, I saw though the crack, the obvious crack that they're going to rename it something. They're going to rename the Cleveland Indians as something less offensive. So say hello to the Ohio Indians.
Oh man!
But it's like, sorry, Cleveland.
Yeah. Cleveland. What are you gonna do?
But yeah, and then I'm also hearing rumors about the Exeter Chiefs.
We'll see.
Some issues with that. I don't think it's gonna make it there because I really don't think it's.
That doesn't quite have the legs.
I just think it's a stupid name. It has no. It's needlessly. It is a little I think it's a little disrespectful only because there's never been American Indians in the UK.
No.
So you only took that name to make the mascot a kind of a racist thing. It's not. I don't think it's cool, and I certainly don't think the chant is cool. Obviously, and so that at least has to go. But I struggle with the Exeter Chiefs too, just because it's the New Zealand, those Chiefs, there's actually,
there's inhabitants there,
right?
That's where they came from,
right? And even the Kansas City Chiefs, it seems a lot more, respectful.
Because there were again inhabitants right out in the middle of the Midwest here before we went and fucked them around, but
But Exeter. I'm not sure,
where in Exeter where they want to know this.
No, so it's literally just to use that ethnicity as a prop, and I'm not really comfortable with that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they change, but I'm not expecting it anytime soon.
Not this year likely.
There's only room for so many shit storms going on in the Premiership.
Yes, this is true. And there's been plenty, and there's already been a few of them at the very least. Speaking of, let's go to player movement. We talked about it last week. We hit on it at least a little bit. Leicester Tigers possibly having some sort of exodus, and
some sort of exodus.
Talissa Vaianu, who's on his way out. It looks like he's heading over to Stade Francais, who are bolstering their squad a little bit. Gerbrent Grubler is also walking his way over to Stade Francais, over to Paris. So it'll be an interesting thing to see if they ever come back to life, because I just haven't seen a strong Stade team for a while now that I think about it. It's been Racing's come around and kind of been one of the big bullies since they just injected a shitload of cash. Obviously Toulouse, Toulon, the likes. Claremont's always been a just complete pain in the ass. They're always there. They're nagging at your heels and making you really fight. But yeah, Stade hasn't been there for a little while now, so it'll be interesting to see these guys kind of rear their heads and say, "Hey, we're back." So we'll see if that will help. I would say that those two guys right there for sure, especially Vaianu. I love Vaianu's game for sure.
Those guys will fill some holes there. That'll be helpful for them.
For sure.
Where's Reece Curry going? I didn't see.
Blues. Back to Pro 14.
Okay. All right.
So, and that's a permanent move. That's a permanent move.
I mean that makes sense. The guy's gonna. I think he wants to go play for Wales. So.
It's almost as if when it's the second he signed for the Saracens, he came on Warren Gatlin's radar.
Yeah.
And then obviously Wayne Pivac kept him on the radar as well.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense for the guy. He gave us a damn good year, and he owes us nothing and no apologies whatsoever. So
that was a good,
go on, Reece.
Solid move on his part. And it's one of those oh, you want to use us? Well, we can use you for a little bit too.
Yeah.
So it's good. It was one of
Mutual
those
using.
right win-win.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, dude.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing but good things to say about
Yeah.
about the big changer.
Agreed. So we have Tui seems to be finding a new home. Genge is probably looking for a new home. So, which is funny because Genge was just beating the drum about how much he loves Leicester, but obviously the contract dispute has changed the tune just a little bit. It sounds like I think it comes down to they just weren't honest with these guys, in what level the hit they were going to take, and now that they found out, they're just like, what the actual shit, guys? Like, you did not tell me this is the way it was going to be. So that's probably why they're pissed, and I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame them. And I almost always side with the player over the team in
Same.
some things, and especially in these circumstances when they're the players are the one really putting it on the line. And if you can't, if you say this is how much we're going to pay you to play rugby for us, that's on you. If you're playing rugby, that's on you to pay your players. So it's one of those, like, that obviously, we know there's issues around the premiership of being a mature league. So this is just another one of those kind of instances. Although I know, we're seeing that with Major League Baseball too. But that's also, to me, different. They're playing a shortened season, whereas it seems like the premiership is just,
we're dragging the season out, unfortunately. But again, I think it's something to do with aligning the rugby calendar into some sort of cohesive order here. So we'll see how that goes. RFU announced today or yesterday that they're making big cuts, like 25% of their staff is going bye-bye. I was like, yo. So that's, and that sucks, because it's not that it sucks twofold. It makes the people who are leaving, they don't have a job, they need to go look for a job. It also makes the people that are still there, they're going to have to pick up all that slack.
Yeah.
That sucks. And they're going to get paid probably the same, if not less, than what they're being paid right now to do more. And that's
right.
You better friggin' love that job in that case, because damn.
And can we contrast all of this with yes, it's a player, but it kind of goes to the same point. The Pat Mahomes contract.
Oh my God!
So we're talking about
so much dough.
We're talking about in the rugby. We're talking about cutting player salaries, and now cutting staff for the RFU national team. Like this is RFU structure. Whereas and they're coming back. They're getting ready to restart and be back. Plan to be back and get going. Whereas the NFL, there might not be a season. Like, they're shortening the preseason. They're doing all the things you expect them to do to stop from saying, yeah, we're just not going to do anything. So, like, but for the NFL, this guy signs a record-breaking contract for ridiculous money at a ridiculous length. It's like, I'm telling you, World Rugby, you got to get in on USA TV money, because you will never worry about money again.
There's a big slice of pie there, man. You don't even need to get that big of a piece, and you're going to be okay for a while, and it just will grow over time. I mean, and I keep referring back to this, but look at the Premier League contract that happened. But for the longest time, it was a small chunk for ESPN, and then Fox had the rest. Obviously, those two are now one. But then NBC just decided, you know what, we're going to drop some major league cash and make it our own. And they did, and they've done a great job, in my opinion. And I'm a Premier League fan, despite the fact my team's not in it, but they're working on that part. But they were when they bought the contract. But they paid so much money for that, and then they just re-upped for a shit ton more. So, I mean, that's where it started with. It was just that was a nothing contract for the longest time for mostly Fox. And then Premier League, NBC just came in and just threw money at it, and they were just like, "Yep, this is ours." So it only takes one TV company to say one network to say, "We want this, and we want to make it ours." So just nuzzle your way in there. There's plenty of space, I promise. And
there might be this fall.
Yeah, we'll see.
I am actively rooting for there to be no football season in a lot of ways, because first off, America, like there was the Washington Nationals pitcher just, I think yesterday or the day before. Baseball players are they're not smart generally.
Well, no, there's a lot of them that aren't.
Like, right. And I don't mean like, oh, the guy's missing a few. No, there are some dumb ones.
There are some pretty dumb ones.
There was a Nationals pitcher who says, sports are kind of a reward for living in a civilized society. Like, I don't know that we should be playing right now, given where we are as a country. And I'm like, it took a baseball player to say it.
What does that say?
Yeah, like,
yeah,
if he can figure it out, how can't we? Like, look at our numbers. We can't be playing right now. So
no,
there's not going to be
a lot that can't happen right now,
especially in the South. Shit, you look at where the hotbeds of it. Texas, yeah, there's no football
Florida.
in Texas. Florida, no. California, no.
Yeah, football Arizona.
Yeah, these are like hotbeds of football, and they're the ones who are. Basically it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So what I want to, we got to start marketing this to Americans now. Like,
let's do it.
You miss football. Well, guess what? Here's some grown men beating the shit out of each other. Like, you'll get the rules. It's not that complicated. Just watch. Like,
just watch and
you get the hits. You'll just turn off your brain. You do that while you're watching football anyway.
Yeah.
Watch the rugby. So I'm hoping that could happen.
Yeah, it'll be
for World Rugby.
Yeah, and I mean, people that are just like, well, the really brutal hits are gone. I'm like, I don't know. Did you watch Sam Underhill at the World Cup? He was laying some pretty ferocious hits, and they were all legal. They were all legal.
There were some big hits this weekend too. Like, it's not a. Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, hang on, America. We're coming for you.
I hope so. I don't know. We've got a little bit of time to add in something to the agenda here that I'd forgotten. Did you see the old coach of the Glendale Raptors? I can't remember his name. Basically was like, yeah, the sleeping giant in America is it's going to sleep for a while longer, like, because they just don't have their shit together. It's like, it was like this kind of op-ed of.
I have to say that's a bad example of a team though. Glendale's in shambles. And you and I both know this.
It's pretty good representation of American rugby, though.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
They're a shit show. They're functioning well, kind of on the field, but they're just a shit show in general. Like, that's pretty much representative of USA Rugby.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get MLR back up.
He was saying that there's no, and he's right in this, because among it was. And I've been complaining about this. You've heard me bitch about it enough. Everybody else can too now. In the U.S., there's no real coach training. It's here's some rugby concepts that you want to include in your coaching, and it's the very basics. But there's no concept of structures and any kind of systems. It's all like, yeah, the kids are gonna play rugby, and you just kind of watch them play rugby, and here's how you. Here's how you do the little coaching things.
Yeah.
Like organize a practice. Okay, well, that's great, but what are you pushing towards? And there's not, and he correctly identified it, how he's like, yeah, the East Coast people play a certain way, the West Coast people play a certain way, the Midwest people play a certain way. And so you can't really bring everybody together. And all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't know that way. I don't know that way. He's like, you got to teach everybody, more.
Be open to different things for sure.
And they all think they have it exactly right. And he's like, they only have pieces of it. And that's how. So that's kind of. I was reading it and saying, yes, this is all true, but damn it, like, I thought people knew this already.
Yeah, I was hoping people knew this already. I mean, anytime you think that you have it all figured out, you don't.
No.
If you're one of those people that thinks, I got it all figured out, guess what? You're probably 2 steps behind everybody else in reality. So maybe just wake up to that a little bit too.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, I know I don't have it all figured out. I have it.
Same.
But at the same time, I know I have it figured out more than a lot of Americans, and that makes me sad.
Also that, yes. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah. This game can be so much more fun and enjoyable than we allow it to be.
Sometimes, yes.
But that's just, I think, again, that the whole football mentality where
hit
that guy in front of you, and that's it. And that's all you think about.
Yeah. You got to change that mentality a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. A little bit of fun for us to do today. We did tiers of halfbacks, and whether somebody agreed with them or not, I don't know, but I don't care. So I figured we'll shift our attention to more or less the quarterbacks of the forward group, which would be our number twos, our hookers. And I got a nice little list here,
rating some hookers
that I threw in there, and it was, I think, the toughest to look at for this group will be the Irishman, because nobody knows a damn thing about any of those three guys.
Yeah,
these are the guys that Andy Farrell picked for the Six Nations this past year, and what I've seen of Herring and Kelleher, I loved, but I haven't seen that much on the international level, so that presents a bit of a problem. So really, they're just up in the air. And you can't really judge somebody on one or two caps.
Yeah, but they've got they have earned a place on the list just by being an Irish international hooker. So,
I mean, that's not to sneeze at by any means.
Yeah,
and you got a few things to live up to with the likes of Keith Wood and Rory Best hanging out. That used to wear that shirt. Yeah, so it's tough.
Whatever, no pressure.
Yeah, no big deal.
It's like the next to wear the 9 or the 10. No big deal.
Right. So I'm tempted to just, especially after the way I've seen him play, I almost have to put Cody Taylor as a tier 1 guy right away.
I put both the New Zealand hookers at tier 1.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, have you seen what Coles is doing?
The last couple of weekends? I saw what he did this weekend for sure.
He's back. Like, it's one of those. Coles is one of these guys where you're like, yeah, he's good. He's always solid. Like, even at his most plain, he's still the top, top good. 5 hooker. But all of a sudden he hasn't turned on the Jets in a while, and now he's done that a lot. So he's back. He's my number 1 right now.
Yeah, him, Taylor, and probably Jenks go into that.
Yeah,
that top tier.
Absolutely. So these are guys who I think in that top tier who you can put them in and pencil them in for 80. I mean, the only reason that Dane Coles doesn't play 80 is because Cody Taylor is there, and the only reason that Cody Taylor doesn't play 80 is because Dane Coles is there.
Coles is there. Yeah, correct.
And Jamie George plays 80 at an international level fairly regularly, which is ridiculous for any forward position, much less front row.
Yeah.
So those are guys who you pencil them in, and you're like, yeah, I'm not worried about you anymore.
Yeah. Anybody else on this list that goes to the tier 1, or do we skip down to tier 2 after this?
There's a tier 1A at least.
Okay, so maybe
some of these guys.
Somebody that's on 2 on their own, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, exactly, and that, to me, that's Joe T and Stuart McAnally.
Because of their play in the loose, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Taufeti's not the best thrower, but I can live with that.
Ask the Irish or the Scottish how that worked.
Right.
He was a nightmare for them.
Yeah. But in the loose, like if he can make the U.S. and Taufeti's one of the only real attacking threats in the forwards for the U.S. and he just shredded Scotland
that day. Yeah. For sure.
That day, and he also does well. He had a very good representation at the World Cup. And again, for a really bad USA team, so it's one of those like if you're standing out in a match as one of the top players, and you're playing with those 14 other players, like you're doing, yeah. Not that there's some good players. Don't get me wrong. I'm not completely shitting on Team USA, but
he stands out.
Yeah,
he stands out. It's not a mystery. Yeah,
right.
All right, so 1A, 2, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So the next tier down, and this, this is really almost insulting to call them 3, but they're not really 3. They're like a sub 2 or sub or sub whatever
they're
it is.
Guys who, like, if they're starting for your international team,
you'll never complain.
Yeah, you're doing all right.
I would put Ken Owens on that list.
The problem is that you got to take him out at around 50 minutes, though.
He usually plays 60. He doesn't play. Yeah. He's not that short of breath.
He's not that effective in the last couple. Like I see him as a. Yeah, I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's fine in that tier. I would put him maybe 1 lower, but I'm not going to argue that much here. He's solid. He's a good player. He's better than a lot of the other guys on the list. So that that kind of makes that decision for me anyway.
Yeah. Who joins him in this list?
See, I think he's
the next standouts.
Let me see. Shota Hari.
Yep.
Definitely on that list.
Just
He's a
thinking
guy.
of him.
He's an impact player.
Japan's hooker. Yep.
Right. Just had a hell of a World Cup. Again, he played 80 in a lot of against Ireland.
He put shifts in
against
big time.
Ireland.
He put big shifts in this World Cup for sure. Yeah. He is a beast.
He had to be dragged off the field essentially. Like he
was spent.
Excellent player. Mm-hmm. And then we're kind of getting into like
either of the South African guys make three.
They're close. I'm struggling with both of them. Although I think Mbanambi, I'd take him before Marks. Okay. Marks is like the same thing with
Marks
Coles.
Dipped.
How he kind of disappeared. Marks disappeared, but then he just didn't.
Yeah, he dipped for sure.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that he's, kind of a flash in the pan potentially, and just kind of lost it.
Other Southern Hemisphere guys. I'm looking at the two that are at the top of our list here: Creevy and Fainga.
Fainga would be on the list. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
That's fair enough. And this is another thing that's probably not fair to them. Marchand and Malvaka, not super experienced guys at this level, but still very good players. Just
we haven't
seen enough.
Right. So they're on to me the next step down, which is guys who I would like as my hookers because I think they're going to be something like more of a long term thing. Mm-hmm. I'd have both the French. I'd probably put all the Irish hookers on there.
Mm-hmm. So they all kind of go on the same level.
I might put Malcolm Marks at that level with the arrow pointing the other direction.
Yeah. Okay.
And Latu at that same level too.
Tall Latu. Where does Cowan-Dickey fall? Is he on? Is he in 4? Is he a 3 that we missed?
I don't think he's that good. I think he's fine. He scores some tries, but usually, he's a solid spark, fresh legs player. Like if he's your backup, you're doing okay. So I don't know that he's a starter level at this for what we're when we're talking about this group of players. Mm-hmm. He's a supporting kind of backup rather than a starting level.
So we probably put he and maybe Gus Creevy on their own level, and then probably put Matavesi and BG the next level down.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Probably fair.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's fair.
All right, I think that's a fair assessment. You can a couple of these guys could be shoved one way or the other depending on their form. But yeah, I mean, really, I don't think we can go wrong with the top tier here with Taylor and Coles and Jamie George.
No, I mean, and there's that second tier is nipping at their heels. So it's, I don't think I think there's kind of a clear separation between obviously guys if you could have like a draft, you'd pick them first over some of the other guys.
For sure.
Yeah, it does get fuzzy towards the middle and the bottom, but doesn't everything?
Yeah, definitely gets fuzzy. I mean, the bottom kind of sorts itself out, and not to say that I don't like BG or Matavesi, but you just have to recognize where they're at. They're great hookers for their countries, but they're just not necessarily somebody that would really jump at you if they were playing for another country.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that with Matavesi in the Premiership. It wasn't like it's like he's another guy.
He was a solid signing for them, especially at the time where they didn't have Dylan Hartley, who kind of unexpectedly retired. They needed twos. They had guys that were getting hurt all over the place. So
he filled in, but it's not like he wasn't like say a Jamie George or even Luke Cowan-Dickey in the Premiership. Luke Cowan-Dickey is the top tier hooker,
right?
But when he gets out to the bigger international scene, he's okay. He's good, okay. But that Matavesi in the Premiership was okay. So it's like he plays on a good team. I don't know how good he is at the international level, just based on how they play.
Correct. Okay. I think that's fair. Cody Taylor and Coles in the 1.
That's not
1A,
fair.
1A,
Not
or
fair.
yeah, especially for those damn All Blacks. In the 1A/2 slot, McAnally and Tafete, and then down from that we're gathering a bunch of names: Owens and Benambi, Hori, Fainga. Those are guys that nobody would ever sneeze at if they had
No.
them by any means whatsoever. Some of those guys you run. I put Ken Owens on there only because he's a good leader and he's somebody that you would run through a wall for. And if he wasn't the heart and soul, if Alan Wynne Jones wasn't the heart and soul of Wales, he would be.
Right.
And that's and to me that's kind of the X factor that puts him a little bit ahead of the other guys. So,
and that's why I didn't argue too much about it, because it's like, you know what, he provides more than just he's more than just the sum of his parts. He's he has intangibles, definitely,
for sure. Okay, so hookers. If anybody has an idea what you'd like us to discuss next, don't be shy. Send Ben a little message poo there. All right, let's go to Australia, where they had a few fans allowed in, which was nice. Melbourne, you won't see anybody in Melbourne for a little while, but that's a different story for a different day. Right. Everybody in Melbourne, be safe, please, 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 please. If you're in Victoria, stay home, chill out, be safe. We don't need more. We don't need more issues.
No.
Okay, this world does not need more problems. But yeah, so let's go to so we'll recap the scores here real quick. Reds 32, Taz 26, Brumbies 31, and Rebels 23. Let's go to was it Suncorp Stadium? Yes, that one. The almighty clash of Reds and Taz. No Nick Phipps for the Taz. That was a big name that was missing for them, or
among others.
I mean, among others. He's now applying his trade from elsewhere, so that was the big loss that they've had, but the backup didn't look too bad. The sub didn't look too bad, so I'll give him props for sure. But this is a big one for the Reds because they haven't won this fixture in a little while now. But the standout name for me for the Reds had to be a name that we didn't talk about last week was Tate McDermott.
Oh, he was unreal.
Yeah,
he's a little quick, huh?
Yeah. Johnny on the spot on the quick tap. He asked Nick Berry, "Can I tap it?" And Nick Berry said yes. Taz not alive to it, and oops, down they go. He gets up, he sneaks over.
He had a hell of a 50-22 kick.
Yes.
Just kind of like, and that right there made me happy that they had the rule. I was like, you know what, that we'll get to a different one. Another rule change in a little bit, but yeah, that just a heads up play. There was nothing there. All right, kick for the corner, just like you would do naturally, except it
worked.
The Taz were asleep, and the dude lets it bounce, and then didn't he try to play it quickly? And they're like, "No, you can't.
Nope, you can't. That's not yours.
Yeah,
that is not yours."
So it's. I mean, maybe that play changes when the players get a little bit more used to it. But,
perhaps, yeah.
Still
a little sleepy on it,
yeah, it was a heads up play, and it worked really well.
His halfback partner O'Connor, what a cutout pass to get to Agnew over the try line there. He was brilliant all day. I'm so happy this guy has just found his groove back in Australia rugby. He's definitely, I mean, he was in the World Cup team. He's going to be in the Wallabies team for Dave Rennie for sure. If he's not, then I don't know what Dave Rennie's been smoking, but damn. This guy looked brilliant. Ran the team very well. He had, I think he missed one kick, but just the same. Awesome job for James O'Connor. I got
Harry Wilson. Can we talk about Harry Wilson?
Clutch try number one for sure.
From the opening, getting in Michael Hooper's face right off the opening kickoff, and just saying, I'm here. I'm gonna get used to me being right here. And then that just didn't stop the whole match.
No, he was everywhere. I mean, he had to come off after, he blew his gasket after a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, obviously he got the clutch try that really gave the, because the Taz fought back. Let's give them props. 15 jersey for the Waratahs. I think it's got a home. In Maddox. What a line that was for his try. Gap mile wide, but you have to run that line still to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran it hard, and he ran it to perfection. It was, and he looked really good the whole game. So tons of props to Jack Maddox. They were talking about it on the broadcast, how it might be his best position. It might be. He looked really good there. Mm-hmm. So loads of props to that guy.
And he showed a good boot too. Like he did a lot of good things. Mm-hmm. Maddox did, and to me, there was a lot of good young players on both sides. We mentioned a few. Maddox is only 23, so I like the youth that are coming through in Australia rugby right now. Like this is looking very positive for them if they can get some of these players, and even some of the guys who didn't have a great showing. Was it James Ram? He had a couple
of blunders.
Right. There was a time where, so here's an opportunity, an issue that I think is going to be missed. Maybe they'll pick it up in the film. I hope so. Where Ram broke the line inside his own half, and what was it? He could have had a 50-22. So like he could have just chipped it ahead. There's nobody in front of him. Hey, chip it ahead. You're still, the fullback's going to tackle you at some point, but take a line out inside their 22 if you can. Like I would be coaching to go for that. If there's nobody in front of you, just fucking grubber it up the field, and
hope it rolls out at the 22.
Right, like you had the opportunity. That should be you should be able to have that skill at that level to do that. And I think that's a better tactical move. So I'm hoping that coaches kind of see that opportunity. Like I hadn't even thought of it until I saw it. I was like, he just broke right through the line. I was like, oh, little chip through would do really well here.
Yeah.
and so I thought of it, but that's not something I would expect a player running with ball in hand the way they've been trained to do.
It'll be a learned thing after a while here.
But he did a lot of good things, but then he would make like one bad decision.
Yes, he did. A couple passes that didn't go to hand or something like that.
Right. So there's a lot of, even again, and who was it? Angus Bell got worked by Tupou in the scrum.
Yes.
But he still looked good. Like and he's 20. Like that was his first start. Like shit, you're getting worked by an international prop. Sorry, kid. Like it won't always be this bad.
You can fix that. You can fix that with time.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was doing fine, except he was just getting worked. And
that red scrum was strong.
Yeah,
that red scrum was very strong. I mean, we mentioned Tupou. What a bonehead! Twice he ran into somebody after the kick. Got away with one. The second one was definitely going to be bad news.
Yeah, it was at least a penalty, and then no, it's got to be a card because at that point you're just being a dick.
It's like now you're being an asshole. Go to timeout, you idiot. Oh, but yeah, I mean, great. It was a well played game all around. Will Harrison, not to be dismissed by any means whatsoever.
No. Harry Johnson Holmes, another youngster, 23. He was everywhere as a tight head. Like he was running all over the place.
Yeah. So this was an excellent match to watch. If you haven't watched it,
one other issue that what was it? So there was the goal line restart law.
Yeah.
So there was a huge kick, and I can't remember who it was, from the Reds, and all the way from the inside their own 22 into the in-goal line or in-goal area. The Taz touched it down, and so instead of it being a 22 or
goal line,
right, goal line, goal line droppy, and so instead of a 22 and kicking it and all that, ends up they have a little line break, and the Reds have a little line break, and ends up getting a penalty, and the there's a try. It was the Maddox try. Was off that goal line restart eventually. So that's a try scoring kick essentially. Yeah. Like I like that. You kick from your own end and get that in the 22. Yeah, or into the in goal area. I like the in goal dropout. Like
I think I could live. I like the idea on the held up. That I definitely like. You reward the defensive team for standing up and saying no, not happening. yeah, I would prefer the 22-meter comeback. You don't measure the damn kick well enough, then you're not going to get. I don't think you quite deserve that much of a reward.
But on that though, this was the Taz player had every opportunity to take it and then kick it to touch themselves. Like you have the opportunity to clear it on your own, and you choose, like, that was a choice not to. The choice to at one point take the 22 dropout, which, I mean, that just starts the game back inside the other team's half, and now you're just playing at midfield, and it gets boring again. Because then they could turn into.
I don't think we can. I don't think we can sacrifice. We don't need to make rules just for entertainment's sake. I think we need to balance the fairness of, all right, you can't wait your kick for shit, so every time it goes into the goddamn 22, then you should get a goal line.
There's got to be a happy medium. I think from your own 22 to do that, though, I think there's got to be, because in that situation, I like it. Maybe not. You're right. Maybe not in the. Yeah, we went for a, just chip it into their territory, and they were under pressure, so they tapped it down like that. Yeah, I'm all for that being a 22, because you're trying to score.
Yeah, we'll see.
In a place like this where you're just trying to clear it out and it just rolls, and the other team decides, well, we could do something with it, but no, we're going to choose to touch it down.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to find that in that middle area. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I do like the goal line dropout for the held up and the like. That's getting rid of so much more fun than Nick Barry even Nick Barry on the scrums was just like, let's go, guys, let's go. So I appreciate that for sure, and I think a lot of people will.
Yeah, because you can't just have it be scrums all the time. So that's it. That I like as a right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, held up. I think that's a good, because that also helps the defense a little bit. Like, you can really boom it if you want, and now they're playing outside the 22. Fine,
find your kicker and hoof it.
Right,
for sure. No, I agree. One guy that definitely stood out. I want to mention, then we'll move on. Swinton had a great game until he didn't. had a couple of boneheaded penalties at the end that definitely cost him. Hooper, I believe the penalty that Hooper was going to win was not given because Swinton had committed a penalty at an earlier ruck.
Yeah,
and that would have kept the Taz on the front foot and possibly on a comeback trail. Instead, James O'Connor knocks over a penalty to end the game. They were already ahead, but he just kills the clock.
Yeah, that was it
with that one.
Right.
Oops. So I mean, doesn't take away his very good game completely, but just a couple of hard-headed moments when you're at clutch time. Mm-hmm. And then let's go to Brumbies and Rebs. Matt Tumua walking out for a big match for him. Was it 100 for him? He got most of them. Got most of them with the Brumbies, ironically. So maybe appropriate that he got it there. Play. He's still very good. There's no denying that. Rebs kind of spotted the Brumbies a little bit to start this one.
They did. It was
a lot of my early notes are mostly Brumbies.
Yeah, it was. Not good. I mean,
they had some good.
That's just.
It was interesting to see the way that the Brumbies used their lineout in the non-traditional ways, because everybody knows the Brumbies lineout drive is a pain in the ass to stop. So they're like, we know this too, so we're going to screw with you, and we're going to run a couple of variations.
Peel action and that was good line. I mean, it was good line, but I mean, hell of a throw, hell of a pass by Fainga to make sure that was shoulder, because that's
an easy forward pass.
Right, but and we, as we saw in a later match, the referee will allow it to certain teams at certain positions. If you're a star fly half, you're going to get that call, but if you're a hooker at any level, you're likely not, unless it's if it's even, you still might even get the benefit of the doubt against you, like, he probably threw that forward because he's a hooker. So well done to Fainga to make sure there's no way that the referee could call that forward. That
call it anyway.
Hell of a pass.
Very good.
The hooker doesn't make that pass forward.
Powell used the lineout again to sneak around and get over himself. Fainga got over, but not via the lineout. The lineout.
Just nice unders line.
Yes, very good stuff. Yeah, I will say, it has to be said, I think Australia's 2 scrum halves are Powell and Tate. I don't know if there's anybody else right now that's in the country that they could say is playing better than those 2. It's really hard to grasp at this point, you know. So I think those are your
disagree.
2. I think those are your 2 right now.
And
if you're going to any sort of TRC,
I think Lolesio just kind of. I think we talked about James O'Connor, but I think Lolesio might have something to say about that 10 jersey.
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be wearing a gold jersey sooner rather than later for sure.
Right. It's no just question. A question of if he's ready to take that starting gig now.
Here's my thought on that, and I had this thought while I was watching it, because this is the position that James O'Connor was in when he started to go awry. He was a young, very good, star for his super team, and then it went very sideways for him. Kind of got shunned and went and did his work in Europe for a little while. Comes back. So if there's anybody that can show this kid, hey, here's how to not fuck this up at your age, I think James O'Connor is the guy. So if you wanted to pair the 2 of those guys together on the team, you don't have to start them. But you talk about a guy that can make sure that Lolesio doesn't go too far awry. I think James O'Connor is a guy that can definitely do that, assuming he wants to take the role, because he has to be willing to do that. But I think O'Connor just learned his lesson, so I don't see why he wouldn't walk.
And guys who learn that lesson, are usually the kind of guys who are like, yeah, I'll do that. Like, I don't want to see what's the use of me saying no, I'm either the clear cut starter or I'm off. Because that's like,
that doesn't help.
It doesn't help, and it just, if it creates the same situation that he was in, then what good is it? I think we're hopefully as a society working more on breaking cycles, and I think that rugby is better than a lot of sports about it. So and especially in Australia, as we've seen from recent, at this point it's old news, but it's still a big step forward. Yep. So I think that there's there's good culture there, and I think O'Connor would take that just based on his the past, as we talked about.
Yeah, yep. I think he'll be just fine. Rebels did fight back, as we know, gave him a taste of their own medicine with Ulysses getting over with the driving maul, and then DHP got himself over as well. What do you think of the decision? And I was screaming at the TV, no, don't do it, to go for 3 and get themselves down 1 instead of go for the corner and possibly take the lead. Closing minutes, not right at the end, but man, it was it had to be within the last 8 minutes easily.
Do you really need me to answer that?
I know you. I know. I'm just making sure that you haven't. I'm making sure you haven't left us here.
No, that's always a go for the corner and try to work it in. Although their lineout was shit, so
one of the few lineouts that wasn't very good this weekend. They couldn't throw straight either hooker, and the crowd got on the referee. There were times when he was right to let it go because it didn't really impact the play. It wasn't that not straight. It would be like the guy throwing it to the guy at the back, no challenge, and he catches it mid chest. It's let it go. Yeah, just let it go, because let it go. There's no point.
It's not contested. Then just let it go. But when you throw to the inside, the inside shoulder or outside shoulder, I should say, when they challenge,
it's not straight. It's just straight. Plain and simple. It's not straight.
or even if they don't challenge and you throw to the first jumper and it's still on his outside shoulder, the referee's gonna be like, no, I can't just sit there and watch you do that. No, that's not straight.
It's not how it works, man.
And how do you do that anyway? I don't understand how lineouts can be this bad at that level. This is meat and potatoes. You shouldn't be able to get to that level without being able to throw a fucking lineout. Yep,
no argument out of me. What did you think of Corbetti in this match?
He played
exactly. That was kind of what I was driving at. Yeah. That was kind of what I was driving at. Not super noticeable.
Disappointing. No, only noticeable when he was doing something wrong.
That's
Like,
not a
or
great thing.
just like, or you're like,
He
oh,
needs the beard again.
okay, yeah, like here we go. Oh no, nothing happened. Like
Oops.
it gets, yeah, like you can't. It's a shame that they talked him up a lot because I mean, and they should because he's technically a star.
He's excellent.
Not
He was
not
not
this
excellent. He
weekend.
was not excellent in this match. Nope. Agreed.
No.
Agreed. Agreed. So yeah, Brumbies take it without Tom Banks at that.
Mm-hmm.
So let that sink in just for a minute. They're gonna have a bye, and I assume it was because they knew they had the bye coming up. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, we can probably manage this without him, and then we'll get him back after the bye.
They
So
were correct.
they managed it. They did. Good game. A little tighter than the scoreboard indicated for the most part, but Brumbies did
Well, they
never
got the
really
late
looked.
try to
Yeah,
end it. So
Brumbies never really looked
yeah,
quite out of control. Even though the Rebels did fight back a little bit, which I was happy with it. I want the Rebels going down without a fight.
yeah.
So yeah, there was that. Let's go over to the other island, New Zealand, Aotearoa. Highlanders 20, Crusaders 40, Chiefs 18, Hurricanes 25. Let's talk about the one under the roof first. Highlanders let it half in this game, and they let it get away. That is just frustration right
Well,
there if you're a Highlanders
typical
fan.
Crusaders, like
I know.
we'll
That's true.
we'll sort things out in the first half, and then all right, second half, let's crack the knuckles. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
on.
I mean, we'll hold on for him. I will say, Sham Frizzell, still an All Black. Still should be an All Black. He's been playing his ass off for this team. Got himself over the line here, but
And
yeah,
that was out of nothing.
he
Like
just muscled himself
that was
over.
Frizzell there was not the first option. I don't even think he was the second option.
I'm not sure he was either.
Because it looked like Aaron Smith wanted to go out the back, but it looked like that first receiver was like, "No, I'm good. I got nothing." And then there was a tight player who could have been like a nice little just off his shoulder run, who kind of was standing there with his finger up his ass. And then there was Shannon Frizzell standing flat-footed, like 10 meters away, flat. and Aaron Smith's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit my boy over there.
Yeah.
And
He knew
like,
what he could do, I guess.
okay, let's go. And he's like starting from nothing, like
Yeah, 100%.
flat-footed, and just powers over the line. Like that's you don't just do that. It's
yeah. He is a monster.
Yeah. So yeah, yes, he's absolutely got to still be an All Black, put in a performance like that.
And speaking of All Blacks, Aaron Smith with that little dart off the back of the line out, woof, showing the wheels. Brad Weber's not the only fast scrum half in New Zealand.
No, he's yeah. Aaron Smith, he's also dipped in a couple of ways, but this is the Aaron Smith we want to see.
This is what you want to see if you're an All Blacks. If you're a Kiwi, you definitely want to see this. But if you're a Highlanders player, you need this.
Mm-hmm.
You need him because he is your go guy.
Yeah.
Good job by Punivai to make sure that one got down in the corner. Two very good young wings, though, that Punivai left for the Highlanders, though. Him and Nareki. I thought Nareki was making, I don't really know wings for tackles, but he didn't look like he missed too many. Nareki didn't. So
no.
And he put his shoulder into him, too. So
yeah,
that was pretty good. We talked about wings that don't like to contact. I would say Nareki's kind of the opposite. So well done to him. But then, I mean, we got to talk about the guys on the other side because they fixed it and they played brilliantly. Great. Colin Grace out for what looks to be the remainder of the competition, maybe the very last week. Tom Christie comes in and no problem. He gets a pair. Yeah. Not a problem. Oh, man. It was, you can't – it's so hard to find a spot to pick out against this team. It really is. Fainga'anuku started this match, but Will Jordan was the star for this team. My goodness. Once again, this kid is amazing. I don't know where he is coming from, but holy shit. The first try, great. That's typical. But man, that one to end the game, that was special. That was so special.
Oh yeah, just a chip that gets tipped.
That gets tipped.
I'll just gather it like it's not. Yeah, of course.
And turns on the wheels.
It's one of those like. So we used to. I'm gonna get into my old man rugby thing. Where we used to have a guy on our team back when I was first starting. He was a guy who'd recently retired, and they talked about was every time he kicked the ball, it just found him. Like he would just be like, yeah, I'm going to kick it like 20 meters that way, and then just stick my arm out, and it'll, as I'm running, and it'll just bounce right to me.
No problem.
That was that, but that's this legends about Clemson. It's Will Jordan's doing it at the Super League level of I'll chip it, and when it gets tipped, it'll just come to me. Like
knows where it's going to go, man. He's got a good sense for the game. Really good sense of the game.
Although this, and I did have this as a note, but I neglected it until just now. But the game really ended when Severus came on.
acrobatic, to say the least.
It's just it's now just expected out of him. Like,
I know.
Severus, he's got the corner on you. Yeah, he's just gonna go flying.
He knows how to fix it, man.
He'll stay in play and
agreed.
And touch it down.
Like he's ridiculous. Sorry. And the was it Mwanga with the touch pass that ended in the second Christie try?
No, that was Cody Taylor.
Was that Taylor? Oh my God. This is why he's a 1. This is why he's in the top tier. I couldn't remember who it was. And I was just thinking Mwanga because it was first receiver, but no, never mind.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that, because I actually did take that note. That was freaking Cody Taylor.
It's just not fair. It just doesn't seem fair. How is this guy this good? And he came off this. He didn't need to come off.
No.
Like, he got subbed. I was like, he doesn't need to be subbed. He could actually finish this match. They just want to get the other guy minutes.
That was That was the 77th minute. Like, that was it. So, like, but you're not going to, that's something that I don't quite understand is you put a guy on for like 2 minutes.
That never made sense to me.
It's like, all right, kind of a fucking cock tease.
You got to have, in my opinion, if you want a guy to have an impact on a match, he needs 10 minutes. Minimum.
Or even to get into it. Like, 2 minutes in, you maybe have made one. You've been around for like one phase of rugby, especially when it's like a restart action.
Yep.
And especially when you're just closing out the game. Like, great, the guy's going to be involved in a ruck on a pick and go or a short.
About it.
And before you kick the touch, like, that doesn't really tell you anything. It doesn't really get him anything other than a cap that doesn't really mean much right now.
Right.
So, like,
agreed. Yeah.
That way, when you talk about 100 appearances, how many,
how many of those were those variety?
Right, if 10 of them comprise 20 minutes, do you really get 10 appearances?
Oh man, I don't know, but so it's and let's be fair, the score line we talked about it before, but I don't think it's completely fair on the Highlanders. They did play a very good game, but the Crusaders just turned into the Crusaders in the second half, and it's really hard to explain otherwise, because the Highlanders are a good team. They put a good performance in, but man, when you have the likes of Will Jordan that just knows where the try line is, Sever Reese, the two of them, just they do it for fun. They're doing it for fun.
They just keep finding wings that will just score, on a whim. Like, I feel like scored now. Okay, score.
It's just ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. Oh, it's too bad. All right, so.
All right, and that wraps up our weekend.
Ben's trying to skate on this one. So Chiefs and Canes in Hamilton. No ALB for the Chiefs, which automatically, I'm sure, put you in your not so happy mood right there.
Well, especially by who fucking replaced him.
Tapia moved in to 12, and Manu went to 13. I think
it was bad again.
I think you and I will both agree that Ben O'Keefe did not have his best match in a lot of ways. No. I think we'll both agree on that one. So we'll just throw that part out there and start with that. I mean, Cobus Van Wyck, easiest try he'll ever score in his life. Where was what happened to the defense out there? Who walked in from their wing? Who walked in from their wing? Shame on them. I'm guessing
the problem started earlier and people had to pinch down. But that's just
possibly
blaming the guy I want to blame.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, that was just good little pass from Jordy, and he returned with a vengeance for sure. But yeah, he made sure that ball found the next guy over as fast as possible. And obviously Van Wyck was able to just kind of saunter in, no problem. Match didn't really go too far after that, though, for a little while. Kind of stalemated.
It did.
And Mackenzie knocked one over to get them on the board.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Mackenzie's play.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of running into double tackles, like on kick returns, and not like getting caught by the centers. He's like running into a prop and a lock.
Yeah, that's
And
somebody
it's
you
like,
probably want to just pants and go by.
right? Like, why are you? What are you doing? Why? Like, the decisions that some of them made. I don't quite get. To me, the game really changed when Alemalo came on. He's got like they got to get him more time because that opened up so
I'm sure
much.
he's in the plan. I'm sure he's in the plan. He got to run out in this one, and then they'll have the bye, and then they'll come back with a little bit of rest.
And I think that'll change a lot.
I agree.
Especially if you get ALB and Alemalo there. That is going to be just dirty.
Yep, that's going to be a nice combination.
They got to first off open up a little bit more room for Mackenzie, who obviously is struggling to make his own space.
Yeah, I mean he lives off broken play. That's the thing, and the broken play hasn't been super broken because it's been very predictable that he's just going to take off with it because there's nobody else that's really a threat. So it's he's kind of doing it on his own at the moment, which is unfortunate because just give him a little bit of space and he's going to make it happen. Artie Surveyor seems to be back. Couple of good runs from the gentleman playing 8 for the Hurricanes.
He can run a little bit.
Yeah, Lamampe was bumping some dudes off again. That's what he does best. So he seemed to be in the mood. Let's talk. All right, let's admire what it was first, and let's admire what happened maybe leading up to it afterwards, or not admire. Let's talk about it. Jordy Barrett's poke from almost 60. God, it would have been good from 63, 64, I think, if he had needed it.
He's a dick.
And I'm watching it. That's the second time he's done that to you, hasn't he?
Yeah. Dick.
Like halfway line-ish and slotted it.
Beyond, yeah. Just all the dick and balls. That's who fucking Jordy Barrett. Shit. Man, what a kick! No, you gotta
just a big mule leg.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even do it like. This is how you know he's at least a good striker of the ball. Whether he's accurate or not is a different story. But you look at his hit, and he's not over swinging. He's just hitting it normal, and it flies, and it's like, holy shit! How good is that?
Yeah, like he doesn't have to. He's not kicking for power. He's going through his motions, and he just has the natural power. Like it's not like he's changing his like you said. He's just his mechanics stay the same. He just gets you see the guys who maybe like really get twisted up and throw their hips into it and really just over exaggerate the motion just to get as much power as they can, and he's just like, I'm just like you said, give it a little poke, and boom,
and it flies like nowhere. But it may or may not have been taken from the wrong spot.
Oh,
yes, it was pointed out, and I don't remember who it was on Twitter somewhere that the penalty might have been actually about 8 meters back, and O'Keefe spotted it wrong, and that to me is not necessarily on O'Keefe. Because the play went way forward. It went way forward afterwards, and then he called it back for a penalty. Long advantage, it's a penalty. That, to me, is on the TMO to say, no, Ben, you need to go back. You need to go back more. So, to me, that's on the TMO.
Or the touch judge.
Or touchy would have been – AR would have been helped there, too. Either one. One of those two has to – because he's not going to remember. He's trying to freaking referee the game.
Oh, yeah. You call advantage, you're like, well, I was kind of in that direction. I'm like, you're running around on the field. You don't really have a time to spot it. That really needs to be at that point on the touch judge because they don't have anything else to do at that point except just look at, whether if there's, if there's any whatever foul play, that's whatever. But you don't need all you need to do is point, like figure the spot, you mark it, and then move on.
Yep, right. Jamie Booth looked pretty good for a backup guy. I'm not a huge fan of the TJ Paranara 10 experiment. I guess this is the time to do it, but I just don't love it.
Oh yeah.
because we're obviously playing for almost nothing here at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Playing for all black caps at this point, really, probably.
Yeah.
For most of these guys.
And plus, they want to keep him on the field, and
yeah, I mean,
it makes sense just
I would
to provide that leadership. I get it. Like,
yeah, we'll get to. So, I do want to point out that Boshier got his due for sure.
Yeah, he did.
He got his due.
He
He got himself over.
He got his penalties and his try. Yep.
Yeah. So he got what was coming to him. He deserved that. Long time coming for that guy. I will say, let me just say this. I don't believe that the 2 Scrafton yellows added up to a red. I'm still not convinced the first one was a yellow. It was a nothing. He barely touched him on the way down. I don't know. I get it. He jumped across the line, whatever. Like, if that's what
I think that was so I get that particular penalty was not a yellow card offense. I think it had been their 3rd or 4th time doing that. I think the ref had talked to him about it, as far as jumping across the line, being offsides at the line out there, and playing with the man, things like that. I think that was, again, like you said, O'Keefe didn't have his best game, but I think that was him trying to tell them, look, this is really not, like, it wasn't this penalty. It's the fact that I've had to tell you a couple times and penalize you for the same thing. So he went to the pocket. That was my take on it. That it wasn't in that particular infraction, but the buildup of similar line out infractions.
Yeah.
So he's trying to police that. So and I'm not
soft
saying
soft one to give it on.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that was the mitigating factor of, like, you guys now are just being dicks to be dicks, not listening to me. Maybe you'll listen now. And it is unfortunate that it led to a red, because it didn't, he didn't deserve a red for that. He deserved a yellow for that second infraction for sure. So I think there's got to be a way to move around that, as far as, like, make it be like a team yellow rather than the player. So, maybe he sits it out because he got the last penalty, but it shouldn't be a yellow charge to him.
Possibly like that.
If there's a way to do that, I'm not sure. And maybe it's just one of those, you'll just have to live with it. And this was a situation where it would have, and now that they had that 20-minute rule, the only reason that they didn't get a player back was because it happened at, just after the 60th minute.
Just before,
yeah. And so that, to me, that kind of mitigates it. It was, it was rough. It's a hard red to take.
Wasn't my favorite red card ever.
No.
Hard done for Scott Scrafton.
Yeah, it's just kind of shitty that O'Keefe got put in that situation, that he had to do it. Of course, he put himself there, but it wasn't the plan.
Yeah. No. So say a lot.
Yeah. I've said enough about Tupaya. He had a shit game. Again, just mostly that every time he got near the ball, something bad happened.
Bad luck.
But it's like, they're getting they're down 20 to 6, and you're in the second half, and you get a little bit of a chance to play, and you're in their other team's attacking end, and he just hits a grubber to touch.
Yeah, I remember that one. I was like, ooh, that's not going to be a good one.
You're down 14 in the second half, and this is not the time to play like you're in the first half, and you need to make something good happen for your team and keep possession. He got shredded by Jamie Booth to set up that Van Wyck second try. That definitely was Tupaya. And then the movement that ended in the Boshier try, Tupaya got it twice, and all he did was slow down the ball. Like, they had a really good rhythm going, and all he did was slow it down. And now they had to build it up again, once he stopped fucking it up. So it's like, you got to provide some sort of boost. As much as I've talked about him, I talked about him some more. Also, I'm kind of on the outs with Peter Sowakula.
Yeah. He's not done anything special.
I will, if I want a player to run into a double tackle as hard as they can, I'm picking him, but I don't want to do it. So
I don't want to do that too often.
Right. That's all he does. He
runs
directly into contact. He got stripped in a contact situation too.
At least once, yeah.
You're an 8. That can't happen in an in tackle situation. You got to take that ball to Dak without losing it. There's no, there's some players you can, it happens, especially if it's like a back on a forward. But when it's your 8, like you're the guy who's, once he gets the ball, he's not giving. The only way it's coming out of his hands is if he's passing it. Like,
yep,
and not.
That's how it should be.
He's done himself a favor by getting rid of that bright yellow scrum cap, so he's harder to notice doing nothing. But
he's still doing nothing.
Yeah, he's still doing nothing. It hasn't helped him hide on the field and attack space. He keeps running into contact.
Agreed.
So yeah, there's just got to be a little bit, and I obviously trust Gatlin to get it right in the long run. But he kind of, he's. I think some guys fell into some old habits that they had previous to him coming in last season. Yeah. And that's not really going over too well. So I think he's got to crack some heads a little bit and get their heads out of their butts.
Yeah. I think we wouldn't do ourselves any justice, or at least not this guy any justice, if we didn't mention the Dane Coles intercept. Sneaky little hooker. That's why he's a one.
Right, it is, but
sneaky little shit.
Yeah, that good play to him. I stupid pass to make though.
Oh yeah,
he was in the passing lane, and it's like, well, I want to pass to the guy who's on the other side of him, but he's standing in the way.
He's gonna run by you. Wait.
Right. And so it's like, no, I'm gonna make the pass now. I want to make that pass, and I want to make it now. It's like, well, there's a guy in the way. No, I'm gonna do it. Like, that was the impression of Ben as he's watching that all happen. Like, don't do that. You're gonna do it anyway because you've already decided you're doing it, whether or not fucking Dean Coles is
right there,
getting right there, ready to take it from you. Like, okay, thanks, Dick.
God damn
it. Good play by him, but just I was like,
poor decision making.
And my note after that was, I either want this half or this match to end right now.
Not sure which one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Well, that's why he's good enough, though, So the Hurricanes are the ones that get off the schneid out of the two of them. Hooray, Hurricanes! Now let's see what happens this week. Yikes! We have some separation. Hooray! In our pick'em.
Oh.
Yeah, and and really, I mean, we might not have. I could have got that one right, and you could have got, Rebels and Brumbies right, or vice versa. But nope. Yeah. We got a 2-game lead. Woo! All right. Considering that, it's like I look at our. Yeah, there's not been that much separation going forward. There was one where I took a pretty good jump, and then you caught me after a little while, and then now we've been back and forth since. So, yeah, it's been interesting to say the least going through. Okay, let's go to Aoteroa. Crusaders Blues, big one down in New Zealand. Let's see what happens here. It's Orange Theory Park. I want to take the Blues.
I'm taking the Crusaders. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't go against the Crusaders at home.
Yeah.
Shit. And and thank you for giving me this this opportunity.
That might be an easy one for you. Yeah. And I might give you another one chance to catch up, because this is going to be the Hurricanes' first batch back in Wellington with Jordy Barrett. Hopefully with Jordy Barrett. So I'm going to take the Hurricanes over the Highlanders.
I'm going to take the Hurricanes. I'm not. I was not terribly impressed by the Highlanders this past weekend, and I was the Hurricanes a lot. I think that they have sorted a lot out. As much as I'm bagging on my Chiefs, a lot of that was because they had the Hurricanes across from them.
I mean, the defense on the Hurricanes was much improved in this game. So in that game, so that certainly helped. And can I say that I also love Baya Fafita at 5? Playing the second row, I really do. We'll see what happens with the second row this week, because Scrafton's probably going to get a one game ban. So might be digging through the coffers for a second rower there.
Yeah. But I also we didn't mention him, but I really like the way Karifi played a lot. Although it's hard to see him now. to
Yeah,
noticing.
he braided up that lettuce of his. He put it under control a little bit.
Right. So it's like it's like, oh yeah, that's right, that's Karifi now. So who's that guy doing one that looks like Karifi except for the hair? Oh no, that's just Karifi with different
It is
hair.
him. Yeah. All right. And then over to Rugby Oz. This will be interesting. Rebels, they're not going to play at home. They're going to play. They got to play away from home, even though they are technically the home team. Against the Reds. Reds won last week. Rebels fell despite tough effort. Man, this is tough. There's a lot of good youth on both teams. I think the Rebels' chance to win a game while they're under this quite a bit of pressure in this circumstance and the really unfortunate things that are going on with them. I think that was their chance last week, so I'm going to go with the Reds.
And I'm just not sure. I mean, the Reds put in a real good shift, and they're a really young team.
Mm-hmm.
So that could lead to them kind of having a little bit of a letdown.
Good.
But at the same time, they're really fucking talented. So yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the Reds. I think I'll go with them. Although I could see, the Rebels lost, so they might be.
We'll see. Yeah.
To that might be some motivation to get some things right,
yep.
And the Reds might get a little cocky.
Possibly.
So
that not outside the realm possibility.
You get young players that fired up one way, complacent the other, but I still think the Reds have enough, especially with their, I think they have their solid veteran leadership that can keep them on course. So
yeah,
I'll say the Reds win in a squeaker. I think it's going to get dangerous for them. I think they'll
win
by less than they should.
This will be a tough game for both. Yeah. This is not going to be a wash by any means whatsoever. And then we have our first appearance by the Western Force playing against the Waratahs. As much as I want Marcel Brache and his crew to come away victorious in this, I know better in my brain, and I'm going to pick the Waratahs. Yeah,
I will also pick the Waratahs. Might be the one time I pick the Taz, depending on how they play. But
well, maybe you'll pick them in the second game too. Second time they play
that's true
as well. They have to play in Perth as well. So yeah, that's we'll see how that goes. So it's round 2 of Super Rugby AU. We got a big clash in Super Rugby Aoteroa. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'm gonna dig into draft rugby stuff later on this week, and I'll probably publish something on the old Twitter feed. So if you guys are have any interest in that, be on the lookout for that. But until then, thank you guys very much for coming along. As always, we appreciate you. Hit us up on Twitter, fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know any questions, any comments. Review us, rate us, yell at us. I don't give a shit. It's just just let us know what you think. All right. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next week, and thanks a lot for coming along. Have a good one. Cheers.
Later.